Today we are talking about following your heart, and I've done this sermon probably a few times, so today we're going to do something a little bit different, and I don't know how it's going to be different, but it's going to just come through me because I open myself up as a vessel for that to happen. I'll start by telling you my situation because my sermons are usually inspired by my reality and by my situation and by the things that I'm going through. Sometimes I'll have an argument with someone, or I'll have a disagreement or a challenge in my life, and it'll turn into a sermon. But today, I am experiencing having made a decision. Okay, we're gonna just go with this. So I made the decision recently to go to school, to study at a community college, which is really cute and really fun. And I had the opportunity to go for very little money. And I'm in my first semester. I'm just doing the summer class, so I wanted to see if it's something that I wanted to do. And I got really excited to do more classes next semester. But at the same time, someone randomly called me, which happens sometimes because I'm a recruiter. I'm not a recruiter, I'm a contractor for my work sometimes. And so someone randomly called me and wanted me to interview for a high-paying job. And my whole rational mind was like, duh, you have to do this job. You absolutely have to put off what you want to do. You have to go to do something that is not fun, that you don't enjoy, that isn't your true heart's work, because it's going to help you be secure financially. And in the past, that has been true in my life. And at this time, there's a small, it's hard to say how much of a chance. There's a pretty good, I believe there's a pretty good chance that I can make it work without having that in my life. So I was feeling really trapped and really negative and really bad and really guilty and really mad and really upset because I thought, oh, I just have to do this thing that's out of alignment with my true heart. And I think that's what this sermon is going to be about, is that you don't always have to do things. And I think that's where we want to really look. It seems simple, but I'm writing down you don't have to. I think that we feel oftentimes very pressured by our upbringings. Our parents' voices completely shape our realities, and they completely shape our consciousness and how we view the world. They shape our linguistic frameworking for the world because they teach us to speak. And we learned how to speak from our friends and our families, and also television. And so this has created our reality in a lot of ways, more than just language, but that's the fundamental aspect of it. So when we look at reality and we expect certain things to be true, they become true, and we reinforce that truth with other people. So we all get together and we all say, the sky is blue, the sky is blue, the sky is blue, the sky is blue. But there's a chance that the sky is blue because we expect it to be blue. That's a very real chance. There's a study that was done where they were trying to determine, blue did not come into our vocabulary as humans for hundreds of years after other colors. And so they wanted to know how that could be since the sky is blue. Well, this researcher asked his child, he pointed up at the sky and he asked his child, what color is that? And the child didn't even know what he was pointing at, She just it just seemed like air. So when we start to think about how language shapes our reality, and we start to think about how unified belief shapes our reality. I was having a discussion about gender yesterday, an impassioned discussion about gender, and someone was arguing that male and female are essential to birth, and so they should still be considered in language. But I think it's the opposite. I think because we think that male and female are essential to birth, then it's about, sorry, I'm so tired. Okay. I think it might restrict us. So there was recently an anaconda that gave birth to more snakes without a male in its enclosure. You know what I'm saying? I think miracles are possible, and I think our language and our expectation will change reality because we're just living in a soup of energy and anything is possible. So when we realize that, we need to start breaking free in our microcosm of our personal reality of what it means to be a person, what it means to be a gender, what it means to be a child, a parent, a sibling, an employee, a boss. All of these things, we can start to have radical confrontation with these things. So let's see. How can you create income doing something you love? There must be a way of transferring skills. Yeah, and so when we're talking about this radical upheaval, this radical changing of, and I'm just going to talk about this in general. Hi, Diva. I just woke up. We're going for it. So we're talking about this radical shift in language and in expectation. It starts within the microcosm of ourselves. So when you look around your life and you think, well, I have a penis, so I have to be a man. And then maybe you step back a minute and you're like, maybe I don't have to be a man, but how do I feel? Oh, I still feel like a man. Okay, that's great. That's up to you to decide. But it takes that jump of understanding that you don't have to be. So start there. And remember, always do the least harm possible. When you do harm, it just reverberates out of your own body, and you have to feel it first, and then it goes out into your world, and then it boomerangs back at you with more intensity. So avoid doing harm. But when you're talking about your own definition of who you are, we're talking about narrative. This is something we talk about in Unicole all the time. It's the most potent form of brainwashing. It's insidious because we don't necessarily realize or notice that it's happening. And narrative is the story that we tell ourselves. It's the reality of, I'm Unicole Unicron. I'm a pop star cult leader. I am smart and I'm kind. And I am a child to my parents, and I'm a sibling to my sisters. And I have certain beliefs about what that means and how I present myself. Thank you. Love is Diva's daughter. So Diva's talking to Love about gender, which is great. You can talk to your kids about it. And so if you start to break down, okay, well, I'm an employee, and that means that I have to wear these clothes and I have to go to this job, and oh, I'm in student loan debt, so I have to work a job and pay it off. Or, oh, there's all these things, and they seem very permanent. They seem very solid and very real and very reinforced structurally and very old and very strong. And you as an individual seem very weak. You think, oh, well, how could I not pay my student loans back? Maybe you think, how could I ever afford a mortgage? I don't know what you guys are worried about. But when we have these beliefs, we're limiting ourselves. And yes, we have a structure around us that is toxic, that is predicated on greed, that is designed to undermine us and to make us feel like we are forced to live in a certain way that is against our true hearts. And we have to be radical enough, radical, to start to conceptualize of a different possible reality. So what would it look like if student loan debt were forgiven or paid for by the banks, not the government, the banks? Why should the government pay the student loan debt? That makes no sense. The banks are the predatory entities. They shouldn't just get rewarded for being predatory. Duh. Anyway, we start to think about what would your life look like if you woke up tomorrow and you had a house free and clear and you had all your debt paid off? If you had no debt, how would you feel? if you had a place to live free, how would you feel? And we're just talking about money because these are some of these structures that are really hard to step outside of. It's hard to feel like you're not sinking down underneath the pressures of this old world structure that is literally designed on creating damaging systems to keep people in boxes. So how do you follow your dreams? How do you say, I want to be free. I want to live a life of enjoyment. I don't want to work. I don't want to do things I don't want to do. I want to just do what's in alignment with my true heart. And whatever that is will be beneficial for the planet. We know that here at Unicult. We know that how you spend your days, if you're aligned with your heart and you're aligned with health and truth and beauty and love, then you're going to be benefiting the world with whatever you choose to do each day. So people are saying they would feel jubilee, they'd feel incredible, like they can make beautiful change in the world. And it's true. So we have to start. Homesteading is a good way to reconnect with the earth and people around you. Gardening is radical. It is radical to have a garden. If you guys aren't already growing a garden this year, I really recommend getting some seeds or some plants. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just start to connect yourself back with that aspect of the earth. And it's a way to disrupt these greed-based systems. Big agriculture is a greed-based system that preys on people. So in order to create a world, we have to be very radical. And we also have to be feeling safe to do this, you know? And part of feeling safe, we can use my example of believing I can generate my base need income with all my hustles, all of my store and my cult and my dog sitting and everything like that. For me to take the jump and not be controlled by fear and not be controlled by these fear-based, greed-based systems, first I have to see a potential reality where it could exist. I have to look into the potential future where my old mind does not even know about. I have to create in my mind a potential future. And some of it relies on other people, some of it relies on systems changing, some of it relies on my own consciousness and my own efforts. And I have to sort of plan it at least a little bit. Maybe I don't get everything planned out. Maybe I don't have every detail, but I have to get to the place where I can confidently believe that what I want to do is possible. And when I can confidently believe that what I want to do is possible, please take my example as an example and don't worry about fixing my life. This really isn't advice time for me because I already know what I'm going to do. I appreciate your concern and care. But I'm using this example as an entry point for you to think about your own life. This is about you guys, not me. So think about a situation that you wish were different, that you feel trapped by a system, that you feel like you have to do something, otherwise you wouldn't survive, and start to conceptualize of a reality where that wouldn't be the case. It could be a big jump, it could be a small jump, and it doesn't mean that you have to do the thing. All I'm saying right now is that we're right now in this creative time of generating thought forms that will propel us into the future. Amazing things are happening on this planet if you haven't noticed. Small miracles that you would never think exist. That you would never think existed. I see it every day. I see it in the conversations around me. Thank you. Excuse me. I see it in the changes in businesses that I go to. I see it in dietary things. I see it in compassion. I see it in all kinds of stuff. So I believe very strongly that we are headed towards a reality where you can do whatever you want because these greed-based, fear-based systems are weakening because they're no longer supported. And you, as an individual, have the power to start conceptualizing of the life that you truly want and start aligning your energy with standing up to these things. So you can say to your boss in your mind, you don't have to actually say it to your boss. I'm saying we're on this journey, but if you work for a shitty boss, you can think in the morning and at night when you're going to sleep how it would feel to tell your boss, yeah, I just suddenly happened upon $100,000 and I think I'm gonna stop working here. Thanks. You know, or whatever it is, or, oh yeah, no, the side project that I'm doing just took off, so now I'm gonna go do that. Use your brain, use your imagination, use your powers of conceiving of a better world. It's not about me, Froggy. I know that what I'm doing is I've already made my decision. My decision is to follow my dreams and ignore and I believe that I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna work a little harder on some things that I do, and I'm gonna really create more value around who I am and what I do, and reach more people, and it's going to be great. We're just going to keep, Unicult is growing every single day, and we have such wonderful members, and I think we can all work together to help us create this world. And I have a lot of side jobs. Yeah, if I had 100, we would buy Uni Acres for sure. Thank you. So that's today's sermon. Do you guys have any questions specifically about your situations that I can help you with? Because I know that mine was a little bit specifically focused on my situation or on money, but I wanted to open up the discussion, which we don't normally do, to talk about how we can start to conceptualize or break free of these program systems, because it can feel very daunting and it can feel very extreme, where we feel like our dreams aren't possible, or we feel like we're limited in what we can achieve. But that's not true, especially when we work together. And that's what Unicult is all about. So Unicult recently incorporated something called spiritual reality. And spiritual reality is the idea that that there are certain laws and functions that happen in the spiritual realm. And one of those laws is that our thoughts create reality, and that collective thinking creates reality even stronger. So when we join our collective forces of our thought form, conceptual reality, together to create a new system and a new world that's aligned with our true hearts, we don't even need to all talk about it together, because a system of harmony will just come in and be created. How do you find motivation and purpose to start to see the truth? Michelle, what do you mean by truth? Like your own truth? I personally am obsessed with truth. So do you think that you would prefer to live in a state of delusion or like a state of lies? I don't fully understand your question. What does it mean to create more value around who you are? It means that when I do projects, sometimes I do them half-heartedly, or, not half-heartedly, but in a rushed way. And so for me, creating more value around who I am just means that I value myself more, and I value my work more, and I put more attention to it, and I become a little bit more obsessed with the details of it, and I create something that's of a higher quality than something that I just rush. And in those instances as well, I feel more confident charging money for those things. For instance, telepathy class, which is going really well. We're on a 1 week break right now, but Telepathy Training Program Club, I really focused a lot of energy into this, and I feel really confident about how amazing it is, and I feel totally fine charging the amount of money that I'm charging for it. So that's what I mean by that. We need to support everyone. How do you find motivation? Okay, we said that. I'm an architect, however, I have no means to work in the skill or material I desire. How do I make a reality where I can build the things I am imagining? Okay, that's a good question. I like that question. As an architect, first of all, you think about how that gets done. Let's say that there's been many people in your exact situation where they were limited by the size and scale of their projects. Look up many different people who were in that situation. What did they do? How did they jump? How did they make that jump between, making smaller projects to making really big projects? Part of it probably is having a visionary goal. So if you have make your designs and conceive of it in your own thoughts. And then it's about figuring out the path, whatever that path is. I don't personally know how architecture works, but figuring out the path of that people have taken. It's not going to be the same path every time. There's no guaranteed path that you can take. But if you start to believe, okay, this is what I really want, and you start applying yourself to create this is how I think of it. I see my life like this. It's like whatever this quantity level is. We can say it's money, fame, success, in my own opinion. Okay, this is it. And as we go over time, I started out with very little, with only $100 at any one time for anything, and barely scraping by and making rent and everything, working 2 to 3 jobs at a time, and making art that got 100% downvotes. So that's where I was. And then what we have to do when we're in a space where we're mad about where we are, where we say, no, I deserve to make more money. I deserve to get upvotes. I deserve to have my art seen. I deserve, and you realize I deserve these things. So I deserve to have, be able to pay my rent. So when you're in that place, then you, first of all, have that energy. You say, I deserve to be here. And then you start filling up your space more. So maybe you show up to work with more enthusiasm and you say, you know what, I want to be a manager. Maybe you don't, but maybe you do. And you're like, I want to do something that's in a bigger way. Or you take on more projects that shows your boss that you could do bigger. Or you start going to perform at, small places or open mics. Maybe that's not where you really want to be, but you have to be bigger than where you're at. And when you occupy a space that's bigger than where you're at, whatever that means, however you can muster that, then, because a lot of times we get defeated by where we're at. We say, oh, I'm down here and I'm defeated and I feel sad and I don't feel like I can do anything and I feel trapped and I feel lethargic. But if you say, I believe in my ability to catapult myself, and you call in your higher self, you call in divinity, this is an important step here, and you say, help me jump and help me take up a bigger space. And you take up a bigger space, then the world shapes back around you. And you're at your architecture meetup and you make the right connection. And someone says, oh, show me your designs. And you've got your designs done. And then they say, I'm going to introduce you to this investor. And then you get introduced to the investor. And maybe that doesn't work out. And so you fill up your space bigger. And you get better contacts and all of that. Money's just a tool. You can believe whatever you want, but if you believe that money sucks, and you think it's evil, then you're gonna have a hard time making it, and you're gonna have a hard time getting the things you deserve in this life. Unfortunately, money is an abstraction. It's ridiculous. I agree. We should all live in a world where we share our resources, but we do not live in that world, and it's okay to understand that money is a tool. Part of the fear and greed-based system is to demonize money and to make us feel like we can't actually embrace wanting it, otherwise we'll be part of the oppressors. But that's not true. To be an oppressor is something you do in your heart. You can be a poor oppressor, you can be a rich oppressor, but for us to associate and attribute money to oppression is not true. The system is oppression. Money is just a tool within it. If you wholeheartedly see value in yourself, how can you be sure others will see value in your work too? That's it. That's the end of you got it in the first part of your sentence. When you wholeheartedly see value in yourself, and you have humility and awareness of where you're really at. I don't just mean walk around being like, I'm the greatest, you idiots, like bow down, like you're not. And you're still on a journey. And the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know. That's all true. So there's a humility aspect involved about understanding that you're on the journey, but also there's the confidence of like, I'm on the journey, but also I deserve this. And I know I'm worthy of, amazing things. Everyone's worthy of amazing things, no matter where your art is or where your quality is or where your self-worth is or anything like that. So get your self-worth up to that point, and people respond to that very much so. In helping emerging artists create a living, what are your thoughts on going with the flow in order to meet the right people and tribe to move your dream forward versus manifestation magic? I think that we're working on multiple levels. So we're working on the spiritual level, where we have to call in divinity and we have to align ourselves with our higher selves to allow for harmony to flow through. And that's what you're talking about, is just going with the flow. When you're in this higher vibration and you're just doing what's fun, doors open for you and things happen. But that doesn't mean that you're just smoking weed on the beach all day. You can get a certain distance by doing that. But if your goal is to, invent a flying car and all you do is smoke weed on the beach all day, you're not connecting physical reality to your conscious reality, because you're not doing the physical work. So there's a certain level of dedication that we have to give. It's a devotion. I've been thinking of it all year as this devotional practice to the physical realm. It's why I'm learning how to draw. I've always been like, I don't need to learn how to draw because the computer kind of does it for me. I can just Google a picture, throw it up there. But there's an aspect of devotion when you take a pencil in your hand and you train your body to just know how to actually make a straight line or a circle that looks right. And it might not seem like a big deal, but when we bring our spirit into our body and we train it and we say, and we focus it on our desires. My class is Sketching for Design, which is, a great way for me to do this. So I'm taking in my higher conceptions and I'm bringing it into the physical world. So you have to connect all of the levels. You have to do spiritual, you have to do the divine, you have to do your own desire, and desire is a propelling force, and there's trust that goes into it, confidence, and then there's also the work. And you can't get there just on work. You still have to call in the other things. You can't get there just on, it takes all the levels. The energy tree you showed last Sunday. Yes, a little bit. Yeah, it's about really aligning yourself over and over and over again, and you do get propelled upwards like that. Good tie-in. Are you able to use your telepathy on demand, or does it come on its own at random? Yeah, telepathy is more of like a passive thing. I think that I can tune into people's emotions and feelings, but for the most part, like my telepathy is mostly in my dreams. Thank you, Cassie. I have no motivation to better myself. Do you have any advice for me? I don't think so. If you're happy where you're at, then you're exactly where you need to be. Do you mean, so maybe you don't mean that you're happy, you just mean that you feel like lethargic or sad. I would say that if that's the case, probably you feel defeated or you feel like you're overcome with too many things you can't change. And so in that case, it's about taking it slow, just a small step. Oh, I think if you're depressed, like when I get depressed, it's like my room becomes messy. I start eating like crap, and it takes little steps. I say, okay, well, today I'm going to make a smoothie. And then I say, I'm going to put on some music and I'm going to do 15 minutes of cleaning. So it's about these little steps. I'm not like, oh, today I'm going to get my life together. Like, I don't have the energy to do that when I'm depressed. I do need to be present as the designer I hope to be. I think I struggle with self-defeating attitudes. Yeah. Have that confidence. I mean, really jump into the future and see the buildings you've designed or whatever you're designing, and have the confidence to see your future self having accomplished that. And then know, this is what Kuan Yin says. She told me the other day, this is you, okay? This is what you want. And in the higher, and then as you go, there's all these obstacles. So you're like, you start here, and then you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get there. Oh, I don't know if I believe in myself. Oh, today is a rough day. Oh no, I'm making some progress. Oh, and you go through all this like earth stuff. But in the higher realms, you and the thing you want already exist. They're already together. That's why you want it. Your desire is holy. You're on the path of your heart, so you get the thing. This is outside of time. But on earth, we have time, we have obstacles, we have all these things we have to overcome. So if you can just remember, tap into that future self, oh, I've already done that thing, and then behave as though you've already done it, or that you're about, like that it's inevitable, your path is going to be much simpler. I have all the money I need, but my life is not built around it. That's the difference. That's good for you. Some people need to focus on money a little bit more to get the money that they need. So you're in a place of privilege. I reached my goal in my career that I've been working toward for years, and now I'm wondering where to go next. Like, what now? So many possibilities. How can I feel more confident in my path? Look back. Realize how far you've come. Realize that you have gotten to the place that was your goal. Think about how long it took you, and then realize you can do anything. I find dedicating myself in small ways and turning those ways into habits and then building upon them is an effective way to have self-devotion. Nice. I was thinking of tying mundane activities with magic related to my dreams. That's really good. How do you react to people who have different beliefs than you? I try to give them love, and I try to understand why they have those beliefs, and I try to tell them if their beliefs are hurting me. And if they don't care that their beliefs are hurting me and they don't care to listen, then I put up boundaries. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, that was so great, you guys. Amazing. I'm awake now. I'm gonna eat some breakfast. And I hope you have a great day. Uni bless.